Hello traders and welcome to the real-time supply and demand video. In this video we're going to go ahead and discuss the benefits and the application of using this tool in trading the MES or the micro ES contract. So let's go ahead and get into the vitals of this contract. First of all, the market name is the Micro E-mini S&P 500. The ticker symbol is MES. The roll cycle is quarterly. The tick value is $1.25 per tick. The point value is $5 per point. The cash open is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The cash close is at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The night session, which is also tradable, is from 6 p.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The important recurring events that can affect this market are the non-farm payrolls, the ISM manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI, PPI, CPI, and core CPI, retail and core retail sales, core durable goods orders, consumer confidence, preliminary or final GDP numbers. So some of you may not be familiar with the MES contract, or maybe just kind of learning about it just now. Well, the MES is a micro ES contract. So the ES trades at $12.50 per tick. The MES, or the micro ES, trades at $1.25 per tick. And I just want to show you that there's really no difference, or very little difference, between the micro and the E-mini contract as well. So here we have in the top, we have the MES contract here, and the ES contract on a 5-minute time frame just below that. And you can see as far as price movement goes, it moves pretty closely together. You can almost tell no difference here. A little bit changing here in the body, but for the most part, they trade pretty similarly. As you can see down here, with the volume for the MES and the ES contracts, you can see that the volumes are actually pretty similar here as well. Now you're going to have more volume in the ES naturally, but you can see that with every spike here that we have in the ES, you see it reflected here in the MES. And the same thing over here. You see volume starting to pick up here and volume picking up here as well. You can see that there's lower volume times here as well. And you can see a little bit of pickup here and there in the MES contract, but for the most part, very little difference between the micro and the ES. As a reminder, trading does carry significant risk, and all information in this video is provided for educational purposes only and is not an offer or recommendation to trade future stocks, options, or Forex. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the key features of this tool. First of all, it marks zones or areas of extreme supply or demand. You have the ability to customize this to any chart type, any time frame, or any market, including futures, ETFs, stocks, and Forex. So here's what the tool looks like on an MES contract here on a 5-minute time frame, but again, you can put this on any time frame that you like. And you'll notice these red blocks and these green blocks. So these red zones here is a supply zone. All these red zones are supply zones here. There's another supply zone here. The zones down here are demand zones. There's one here, and there's another little one right over here. Now you'll notice that they have different colors here. The darker colors are indeed supply zones here, but they just have not been retested yet. Whereas the light colored ones, as you can see here, have been retested, and this one probably looks like it was retested by a tick, came right back up and just ticked in that box, changed the color of this, indicating a strong supply zone here. The demand zone is the same thing. This is a light color here, and when the box when it hasn't been retested, let's say this never got to this area here, this would be a dark green. But it did get into this area, so this got right in here, so it went ahead and highlighted a light green. Same thing over here. Let me go ahead and erase some of this here. Again, it ticks in the box, turns it to a light green. Same thing here. It was created here, and then came back and ticked into the box and created this light green, indicating a strong demand zone there as well. You can always hide the supply and demand zones simply by clicking on this button located at the top of the chart. So how can this indicator help you with your trading? The real-time supply and demand tool calculates imbalances from volume, blocks of volume, and order flow activity. This helps you measure and visually identify a key point within the market to trade. Now here are a few different ways you can go ahead and use the supply and demand tool to go ahead and trade as a trade setup and a trigger. And what that means is that when you see a demand zone, in this case being created here, you want to see this to come back and retest the zone just like you see right through here. When it comes back and just ticks in the box and starts moving off there, these are powerful areas to go ahead and take trades from. Now typically what I'd like to do and use as a trade trigger is if the zone is created here, I would prefer to go up just by maybe 10-15 bars and then come right back and retest it in short order. And that's exactly what you got right here. So if you look on the all the way to the right hand side here, let's go ahead and zoom in. You can see that the demand zone is created here, and within we had a big strong move out, which is another characteristic that you want to see. And then within, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, maybe 5 bars, you came back, ticked into this box, and gave you a great opportunity to go ahead and go long. These are the great examples to take advantage of. They still, as you can see here, it works here out into the future very, very well here, especially if you have a chart pattern like this double top that you see here. And this one worked here pretty well. But when you have these just big strong move out of it, and then a short retest, short time later you get a retest, those are strong moves. Can definitely use it as its own system. Support and resistance. So if I go ahead and put these lines in here, you can see how it acts as strong resistance here and good support through here. As a matter of fact, there's a little area of support through here as well. Risk to reward analysis. So you don't see it off to the right hand side here. You'll see these little numbers, and I'll go ahead and show it to you when we get into the charts, but you can actually see exactly how much you're going to risk just by seeing the width of the box. So really quickly and easily you can see how much you're going to risk by looking at the box, so you can go ahead and determine your reward. So you know where to put your stop and where to put your target. Sentiment. So if you see a lot of these red zones here, as you can see here and here and here in the market, this is indicating a bearish market here. Conversely, if I saw a lot of green zones here on the chart, that would indicate a strongly bearish market here. Now we're getting these green zones to pop up here, and it's showing that the market's balancing out here a little bit, but it's clear that the trend is down. So any type of rally you want to go ahead and try to fade. But we are getting a little bit of bullish support here, so you might not be as aggressive as you were before. So again, right away you can just visually look at this chart and indicate sentiment. It's a bearish chart, but we're getting a little bit of bullishness here within this chart. So I'm still going to go ahead and fade rallies, but I may not get as much out of these out of those fades or shorts to the downside as I did previously. So something to be aware of. But again, just visually looking at it, you can see the sentiment right here on the chart. Now let's go ahead and transition to the chart, and I'll show you how to set this up. So you want to go ahead and start with a clean chart here. On any time frame, you want to right click and go into indicators. Let's go down to the NCAT tools. You'll see RSD. Go ahead and load that in. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And right away, it goes ahead and loads everything on here, all the supply and demand zones. All right, you can hide the zones or show them whenever you like. I'm going to right click here onto the chart and go into indicators. We'll talk about the settings here. So extend zone minutes. Well, let's go ahead and move off to the left here. Go ahead and show you how to set that up. What that means is that you can extend the zones off to the side. So let's say I want to go ahead and extend the zone by 60 minutes. Go ahead and hit apply. And you'll notice the zones will go ahead and move out now, and they're extended by 60 minutes. So they project out into the future a little bit better, so it can help you with your analysis. No weak zones. So if this box is checked, it means that you're not going to see weak zones here on the chart. If I uncheck it, I don't think there's any weak zones here anyways. You'll see these purplish zones that will pop up, but those are weak zones. I don't like to see them, so I'll go ahead and leave that off. Or leave it checked. Recolor, retouch. So if you want these zones to go ahead and recolor when they get retouched, as you can see here or along the bottom here, you can go ahead and make sure this is checked. By default it is. The recolor weak retouch. So if you have the weak zones enabled and you want those to get recolored on retouch, you can go ahead and leave this checked here as well, or go ahead and check it. Time frame type. This is set to chart period. So if I go to a 5-minute or 15-minute or 60-minute, I'm going to see 60-minute zones, or 15-minute chart, I'll see 15-minute zones, or 5-minute chart, I'll see 5-minute zones. These will change with the time frame. However, let's say that I want to go ahead and see 60 minutes supply and demand zones. Change this to minute. Put in whatever value that you want to go ahead and pull supply and demand zone from. Go ahead and hit OK. And now what I'm seeing on this chart is seeing 60-minute supply and demand zone. So very useful to have pretty much two time frames here onto the chart at the same time. So I'm looking at 60-minute supply and demand zones, so it'd be similar to looking at a 60-minute chart, but I'm actually on a 5-minute time frame or 5-minute chart. So 60-minute time zones are supply zones and demand zones on a 5-minute time frame. So you don't have to flip back and forth between charts. Now if I want to go ahead and keep it on the same chart period that I'm in here, go ahead and change this back to chart period and you're all set. Data series and setup, you want to go ahead and leave the same. Visual, I'm going to go ahead and leave the same here as well. Colors, if you want to go ahead and change any of the colors of these zones, feel free to go ahead and change anything here. Far edge price and zone height and main edge price. So if I go ahead and check this, you can see right here, it says 27.92, 27.99. That's the bottom of the box here for supply zones. top of the box for demand zones 27.78 just gives you those main edge prices. Now if I want to see the opposite side of the box here, now I'll see 27.76.50 here, so I'm seeing the bottom of the box here. I'm seeing the top of the box, the price here at 27.93.50. So this can be very useful if you're doing risk-reward analysis and you want to know exactly which price to go ahead and put your stop above, or whatever the case is. This zone height here, if I go ahead and check that, what that's going to go ahead and do is tell me in terms of ticks. Let's go ahead and turn this off here. It'll tell me in terms of ticks how many ticks I'm going to risk. So it tells you the width of the box. So this box is 8 ticks high, this one is 6 ticks high, and this one's 4 ticks high. Right, if you want to email every time a supply zone or demand zone is touched or created, you can go ahead and you have to plug your email in each of these boxes here. When you put your email in, it activates these alerts. So go ahead and make sure you put your email in each of these boxes if you want an email here, and your password and all that. Audible alerts are here as well, so if you want an audible alert when demand zone is touched or supply zone is touched, you can go ahead and set those audible alerts here. Once you're done, go ahead and hit OK, and you're all set and ready to go. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you found it helpful, and happy trading.